Varen had witnessed countless interrogations in his 3 centuries of service to the Drakthar Empire. His scales, dark as obsidian and edged with crimson, had seen the breaking of warriors from 100 worlds. He'd watched beings of pure energy dissolve into madness, seen silicon-based lifeforms crumble under neural disruptors, and observed the strongest specimens of the galaxy's apex predators reduced to whimpering husks. But he had never seen anything like Lyra Hale. The human female had been captured during a raid on a smuggler's vessel near the Outer Rim, intelligence suggested. She was a courier for the Terran Resistance, carrying classified information about Earth's new defensive technologies. Standard procedure: extract the information, dispose of the asset. Simple. Clinical. Varen had overseen such operations thousands of times. He watched from the observation deck as the interrogation specialists began their work. Lyra Hale stood in the center of the extraction chamber, her small frame barely reaching 5.5 feet, looking pathetically fragile against the towering machinery. Her brown hair was matted with sweat, her clothing torn from the initial capture, but her eyes— Varen noticed her eyes immediately. They burned with something he couldn't quite identify. The specialists activated the neural agony inducer. It was a device that hijacked the nervous system, creating the sensation of every nerve ending simultaneously catching fire. Most species lasted between 30 and 90 seconds before unconsciousness claimed them as mercy. The truly resilient might endure for 3 minutes. Lyra Hale screamed. The sound tore through the chamber, raw and primal. Her body convulsed, muscles seizing as the device did its work. Varen's translator struggled to process the words mixed with her screams. Human profanities, threats, defiance. 5 minutes passed, then 10. The specialists exchanged confused glances, checking their equipment. The device was functioning perfectly. 15 minutes. Lyra Hale remained conscious. Varen's secondary hearts began beating faster, an involuntary response his species exhibited when witnessing something that defied natural order. The human should have been comatose, brain dead even. The neural load alone should have fried her synapses beyond repair. At 23 minutes, the specialists finally powered down the device. Lyra collapsed to the floor, her body twitching, foam at the corners of her mouth. But she was still conscious, still breathing. And when she lifted her head, Varen saw something that sent a chill through his ancient blood. She was smiling. "Is that all you've got?" she rasped, her voice shredded but audible. My little sister. Hits harder." The specialists moved to the next phase. Cellular disintegration rays set to sublethal levels. The pain was reportedly worse than the neural inducer, breaking down tissue at a molecular level before allowing it to regenerate, only to begin the process again. They subjected her to it for an hour. Lyra Hale passed out 17 minutes in, but her vital signs remained stable, impossibly stable. Her heart rate, while elevated, never crossed into fatal territory. Her brain activity showed patterns the Drakthar medical officer couldn't explain. It was as if her consciousness had adapted, compartmentalized the pain into something manageable. When they finally stopped, Varen gave the order to return her to her cell. Let her recover, then they'd try again. Every being had a breaking point, even humans. But as the guards dragged her limp form away, Varen found himself accessing the Drakthar intelligence archives, searching for information on human biology. What he found disturbed him more than the interrogation itself. Humans were classified as a Class 7 Death World species. Their planet had tried to kill them for millions of years through predators, diseases, climate extremes, and natural disasters. They'd evolved not just to survive, but to thrive through something the archives called spite biology. Their bodies produced over 30 different pain management chemicals naturally. Their brains could literally rewire themselves to cope with trauma. They healed from injuries that would be lethal to most species, and they had something else, something the clinical reports couldn't quite quantify. A psychological resilience born from being prey that became predator, from building civilizations in the face of impossible odds, from looking at the uncaring universe and deciding to care anyway. 6 hours later, Varen made his routine inspection of the detention level. Protocol dictated checking on high-value prisoners, ensuring they remained secure and compliant. He approached Lyra Hale's cell with 2 guards, expecting to find her catatonic, possibly comatose. The interrogation she'd endured would have left most beings in a vegetative state for weeks. The cell door opened. Lyra. Hale was doing push-ups. Varen's combat instincts flared. An impossibility was occurring before him. The human's body should have been destroyed. Her mind should have been shattered. Yet here she was. Her muscles working, her breathing controlled. Her movements precise and deliberate. She stopped at 50 and stood up, meeting Varen's gaze with those burning eyes. Her body was covered in bruises and burns, but she stood straight, proud, unbroken. "Commander Varen," she said, somehow knowing his rank without being told. "You look surprised." Varen's translator implant couldn't quite capture the emotion in his next words. "How are you? Functioning?" Lyra tilted her head, that same unsettling smile returning. "You want to know the secret of humanity, Dragon?" She stepped closer to the energy barrier separating them. "We've been broken so many times that we learned how to put ourselves back together. Every disaster, every extinction event, every time the universe tried to delete us, we survived. Not because we're the strongest or the smartest." She placed her palm against the barrier, ignoring the energy that crackled against her skin. "But because we're too stubborn to die, and too angry to quit." Varen stared at this small, damaged, impossible creature and realized something that would change the trajectory of the war. The Drakthar Empire had made a catastrophic miscalculation. They'd assumed humans were just another species to be conquered. They'd never considered that humans were the species that conquered themselves first, conquering their world, their biology, their own capacity for despair, and emerged as something that didn't know how to surrender. "We're sending you back," Varen heard himself say, "to Earth with a message." Lyra Hale's smile widened. "Tell your empire," she said softly, "that they have no idea what's coming." And in that moment, Varen knew she was right.